Welcome back to the Wilmington Chamber podcast. I'm Natalie English, President and CEO of the Wilmington Chamber.
I'm Megan Mullins. I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Communications for the Chamber.
I'm Isabela Lujan. I am a real estate agent, and I am co-chair and co-founder of the Latin American Business Council with the Wilmington Chamber of Commerce.
Gustavo, owner of Mattress and Furniture Liquidators, Roddy's Enterprise, and also co-founder of the Latin American Business Council with the Chamber of Commerce.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. We're excited
It's
to be here.
We're approaching an anniversary, are we not?
Yes, we are.
we
2 years.
are. 2 years. Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and during the pandemic, it looks like, I don't know. Do you feel it's longer or shorter?
We're on chamber time now, so it's hard to
I
say.
feel like it was like 1 year.
It
right?
feels, in some ways, it feels a lot shorter than 2 years, right? Because we've actually crammed 2 years into the last 4 months,
Right.
it feels like. But
Right.
in other ways, it feels like 2 years ago was forever ago,
Yeah.
right?
So-
But we're opening back up again.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Isabela and Gustavo, how did the Latin American Business Council come to be?
Well, long story short, I was on my living room watching TV, and I saw intentional collisions. The first intentional collisions that I think air on TV,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, you know, it's intentional collisions, but we're not there, and there's a lot of businesses, so it triggered to contact you, and what was the name of the
Sue.
Sue. Contact Sue, contact Isabela, and then we start
Mm-hmm.
the conversation with everything. But I think that was the intentional collision, seeing that happening, and to see that later on happening with everyone there, it was great to see it.
So, intentional collisions, for the folks who are listening or watching, is a quarterly event that we host at the Chamber that engages people of all backgrounds and all origins to come together and intentionally collide with each other and learn about each other and get to know each other better. And I can't tell you how many goosebumps I had on my arm at the last one. Just the we've done a good job of having a lot of different skin color at intentional collisions before, but every color you could find on the spectrum was at the End of Days Distillery that hosted our last one. It was so exciting.
I think that idea of intentional collisions is brilliant, and it was resumes the idea that I had when we were invited to be part of the chamber. So yeah, it's a very interesting project in this city. So I have a meetup group that is called Wilmington Spanish Meetup, and my idea was to do something like that, but what you do is way more, it's wider. It's very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, and we have fun. And it's fun.
It is.
Yeah, but you get to meet a lot of people that you might not normally meet. You don't normally see at any other after-hours event in our community, and that's kind of the goal, is the point, is that we want people who might not otherwise do business together to get to know each other. So.
And I think what we have done and what we see on the first live event, in-person event for Latin American Business Council was we had that. We also brought in obviously the Spanish, but you can see the people that otherwise they won't meet nowhere else. When you have a president of a bank coming in and see a person that is starting their cleaning business, that's powerful because otherwise they will never see that. And to see that happen, I think that's what we intended to have happen, bringing those people together and let everyone know the business community, the Latino business community is so big.
Yeah.
But yes, all culture is different, the way we do business is different, and not everybody can make it to those events, right? But they're watching. I mean, we can see within our Facebook page that they're watching, they're looking at the videos of whatever we're doing. So at night when they get home, I'm pretty sure they're watching that. So I think it's great that we have these events and recording them for them to see.
Right.
And it's the idea of the Latin American Business Council at the end to make the community feel represented, to see themselves in these events, and maybe they are not going to attend immediately, but the information starts to be there, and they know this is happening, and they know if they want to do it, they can go, and there's going to be people like us, in this type of spaces that we are not used to see, people like us, basically.
Sure.
So
You know, it takes time
it takes
to build trust and comfortability. Yeah, so you all saw intentional collisions. You knew that we had an African American Business Council. It had been in existence for almost 2 years when we started talking, right? And then because we were online due to the pandemic, it took some time to build an audience and to build the trust. And that first in-person Latin American Business Council earlier this year at the Chamber building was so much fun to see that many Latin American Hispanic business people in the room.
Yeah, I mean, we had close to 80 people register and 50 people showed up for just an after-hours meeting about the Latinx community and culture and the economic impact that you have in southeastern North Carolina. It's hugely powerful. And like you said, we have people that are not from that background that showed up and got to learn a lot and make connections. So that's the goal.
Sometimes things happen for a reason, because I thought in the beginning, well, you know, the Latin American Business Council started during the pandemic, and when we started, it was in the middle of this emergency. I remember when I called you, or I don't remember if it was an email that I sent, and I remember telling you, should we do this now to share information with the community about what's going on and what resources they can have? And I remember you had to tell me twice, yes, let's do it. Because the first time she told me yes, but I was so, what? She had to say that again, yes, Isabela, let's do it. Yeah. And I think the fact that it was virtual for 2 years, it was bad, but it was good for us, because it was very challenging for me personally to put my name out there, to start calling people of the community to attend, to pay attention to the chamber. It was a whole training during these whole 2 years.
Right.
So now that we have the in-person meetings, it's way easier for me.
Yeah.
Because if this would be the situation 2 years ago, I would need a very intense training, private training to speak in public, to do so many things, even with my English.
Right. Well, I was so pleased to have an avenue to ensure that Spanish-speaking business owners had access to the same information and resources that any other business had in our community, because a lot of businesses needed a lot of help when the pandemic started. When the shutdown started, it was scary and it was impacting your return on investment. And so I was thrilled that you all could help us. Translated, you spoke Spanish when we spoke English, and I think it was great to have that way to share those resources.
Yeah, and I think there was the seed and there's the fruit almost right away, because passing along information that otherwise, remember the grant.
The hospitality, retail
which it was,
grant.
I would say that it would never been to our community if it was for the Latin American Business Council and information. And it's not just Isabela and I think we have Chris Montero, Edelmira Segovia, Norma, Vicky, which they're leaders in the community, and they help us pass along that information. And then I think 4 or 6 businesses got the grant, which otherwise it would never happen, because that information, yes, they might translate it in Spanish, but then you need channels to distribute
to get the word out. That's right.
So that's and I think that was a good success for us as a group, as a Latin American Business Council, with the group that we recruit, to being able to get that word out. That was I think that was one of the successes that it kind of motivates me to keep doing this volunteer work. I have to say that sometimes it's helping others that otherwise they won't benefit. So.
It is. So you said the word volunteer, and yes, thank you, because you both do spend a lot of time, but you both also have a profession. So Gustavo, talk a little bit about the length of your business and how you got here, all those kinds of things, so that our audience can learn more about you.
How long do I have? Well, originally from Mexico. I was here when I was 17. And I started my business when I was 22, so it's been 19 years since I've been on the road of one industry. I went through the 2008 recession, which I lost everything, and came back up again. So I started twice on this business, and my trust in financial liquidators started because of that. When that happened, so I started buying closeouts for different manufacturers, and then I was well known as the Mexican with cash because I would go and buy
Tony.
truckloads. Tony, the Mexican, right? Because I will go and buy what other manufacturers won't buy, and that was a good concept that I brought into Wilmington. I started in Hampstead, and then I brought it to Wilmington. So I've been blessed to say that I recruit good team employees, and be able to help me to grow my business gradually, and a business coach, which having a business coach switched my mindset of a hard working. Our culture is work hard and you succeed. The coach mentality they put me as work smart and help others to work harder and smarter, and you will succeed even faster. So I think that was the mindset, and obviously reading books, attending to seminars. I walk on fire with Tony Robbins seminars, and that was one of the big things that always improve myself and give myself a other position within my business. So between being a salesperson, being a manager, being the CEO, and now in a way, which I still wear several hats, but I think the different mentality of where I wanted to be when I'm 55 has helped me to decide where, and through that journey, through being able to go to John Maxwell seminars, is always the leadership. And I think what we need as a community is we need more leaders. We definitely need more representation everywhere. And seeing that wasn't happening, and again, I was blessed, and thank you for my customers to supporting the business, to being able to do this and volunteer, do this type of volunteer work because I can, and the business allowed me to do that. And I want to give back. I want to give back to the community. I think it's important to mention that buying from a local business, it helps us, local business, to be involved.
Right.
And I don't want to be the one talking, I want to be the one doing.
Yeah, well, we appreciate that. And Gustavo is a graduate. The last episode we talked about Leadership Wilmington, and Gustavo has been through the program. He also is a 40 under 40 recipient in our community, which I think was another success of the Latin American Business Council, the number of Latinx people who became 40 under 40 winners over the last couple of years, which is because you all were spreading the word. So Isabela, it's your turn. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm from Venezuela. I arrived to the United States 5 years ago, directly from Caracas, the capital. I was a real estate agent already there since the last, let's say, when I arrived here I was already, it was my 8th year. So I was working as a real estate agent for 8 years back in my country. And when I came here, it was very chaotic.
Cathartic.
No, like a chaos. It was not planned.
Chaotic.
Chaotic. Thank you.
We like to learn from each other.
Yes.
We learn Spanish.
Yeah. So it was not planned, and it was very hard, especially the first year was very complicated. But I was able to, overcome a lot of things that connect me with the immigration community. And that's why I enjoy so much all the job that I'm doing right now, or all the volunteer job that I'm doing, because I feel that through that job I have been healing a lot of, all the things that brought me here, that made me be like in a super vulnerable situation. So when I came here, I was confronted with the decision of what am I going to do, right? And it was not very difficult to think, what, let me do what I was doing back in my country,
Yeah.
So I just started as a real estate agent here, trying to be really well known in the community because of the language barrier. My niche was always the Latin community. So, and again, when I started to learn and to be more involved with the diversity that the Latin community has, it was mind-blowing for me, because first, to identify myself as a Latina was a process, because when I came here, I was a Venezuelan. I never thought about myself as a Latina or as Hispanic. For me, it was a very fast process, because when you have a long time here, it's easier because it's like a general idea that the majority of the community has about you, and that's an easy way to work with a community. The Latin community is a minority. So it took a long time for me to, appropriate that identity, and I'm just doing that, as working in my, doing my business and doing all the volunteer job I do. I work as a residential and commercial real estate agent.
Cool.
I have my business registered, my company, that it's Casa de Oro Property Group with Coldwell Banker Seekers Advantage, and I'm still developing my idea, but I'm working on that.
So
I'm very happy. Yes.
So
Exciting.
back to the idea that we are celebrating our second anniversary for the Latin American Business Council.
Yeah,
Great
we can have
job,
some
you
fun.
guys. So what are we doing to celebrate?
Fiesta.
Fiesta.
That's the answer to everything, right?
So I think on the first in-person meeting, we show the power of the economic impact that we have, but we like to party. So we will have a fiesta, and Wilmington Latin Dance will be joining us. So stay tuned. Actually, it's May 11.
Yeah, we're getting together on May 11th, 5:30 to 7:30. We're going to the brunches on Randall. Brunches at Randall on Randall. That's where we're going. You can check the Wilmington Chamber's website, wilmingtonchamber.org, in our events section for more specific details. But we're partnering with Wilmington Latin Dance. It's going to be really fun.
Fiesta.
Fiesta.
I'm excited. Yes,
Yeah.
it's going to be very fun.
Cool.
Gustavo, Isabela, thank you so much for your leadership in our
Thank you.
community. Thank you for the growth of your business, because that invests in our economy. And thank you so much for joining me and Megan today. This is the end of our podcast, the Wilmington Chamber podcast. Stay tuned. We'll be back to see you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.